Breaking down Estacado sports. This is the Matador Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on a Monday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. And we're jumping into the Matador Fan Zone with my friend Mark Llanas. Well, I didn't know this until Chuck Hines filled me in on some stuff. Your game the other night had kind of a weird tweak to it at the end that didn't go so well for the Matadors, but I'm going to get you to explain it. But then I'm going to say, Mark, tell me how you spin that into a positive.
Crazy. Bottom of the seventh, tie ball game, 8-8, I believe.
It's against Levelland.
Against Levelland, and Mateo Sanchez hits a pop-up, turns into air around home plate. We get on first. Walking to hit batter, bases loaded, batter at the plate, 3-1 count, and draws a walk. So Mateo comes across, crosses home.
Should have been the winning run.
Landon's going to first, and then just in the excitement of winning, never touches first.
Oh,
which is you need to touch first to complete the play.
Yep.
That's just, we've talked about that before. It's just one of those deals where it happens. So he was running and he's trying to get there, and just everybody's excited, and didn't happen. Well, that's not a big deal. Where the confusion is Levelland walks off the field. They line up. We shake hands. They're in the dugout. We're in the dugout. We're walking down the left field line to talk. Umpires are walking away, and I don't know if a fan or someone tells the umpire, hey, he didn't touch first. And so I guess coaches talk to the umpire, and after about 10, 12 minutes, they rule him out. Which, by the rule book, it's like if a person tags up, you have to appeal that before the next pitch is thrown. But since that was the end of the ball game, you have to appeal it before you walk off the field. So they didn't appeal it until they walk off the field. We shook hands, umpires walking away, all this stuff. At the end of the day, it counts for a loss for us, but that appeal never should have taken place because the ball game was over, because they gave up their opportunity to appeal. And that's just I've been a part of baseball for a long time, and we almost had a situation like that in 2021, where I remember I was a first base coach. Coach Gomez was at third. Walked it off at home, and the kid starts walking to first, and me and him are like, no, you got to touch first. He ran over there real quick, touched it, and then we were celebrated. The person just didn't get a chance to get there. And, we talked about it after the game, and then, yes, we will go out there that next inning, top of the eighth, and, we just about as deflated as you can be. We made some errors. They had some hits, and it snowballed on us, and it's just one of those where, and the game was just an amazing game, absolutely one of the best games I've been a part of. I think rival is a correct term you can use to describe Levelland and us. So they were up, we were up, parents were ready, our parents were ready. It was just a very intense ball game throughout, and when we shook hands, and it was just kind of all that emotional release from the game, and they're like, 10 minutes later, you got to go back on the field. Our pitcher hadn't thrown, and it just, you don't expect for the game to be,
nope.
Hey, he's out. And like, well, that's too late. He's already left the field. They've already forfeited their opportunity to appeal that. But it didn't work out that way, so we had to go out there. We had to finish, and we just talked about it. Like, in our heart of hearts, for 7 innings, we believe we won that game. And that's a lesson that we just can't not give up, but just kind of, we have to find a way to dig deep and scrap. And then we still, if we make a play or two, we give up one run, and I think we got to runner at third in the 8th inning. So it wasn't like a total loss. It was a hard teaching moment, because at the end of the day, those kids just felt as if they had won the game. And you can't do anything about it. At the end of the day, it's, the kid's like, why don't you appeal to UIL? I don't want to sound negative, but if every team or coach appealed to UIL because of an umpire messing up, then
there'd be a lot of appeals.
And it's just like, guys, that's just, it's just how it is. the toughest way to learn a lesson, and that's what we did. And we talked about it today, and we can't change it. I think down the road it'll make us tougher, and we got to move on.
Well, we're coming up on a break, but two things, and you mentioned Victor. I said this to Victor last week. People sometimes forget you guys are teachers besides being coaches. So every sport comes with lessons that you have to teach them. That's maybe the most difficult lesson. I want you to think about that, because when we come back, but also I talked about this. It also only counts one game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one, and like you said, it was a chance for you to maybe create some. But the fact is, you guys are 4-3, tied for second place in your district. Still have time to take care of some things and not forget about it, and not erase it, but come back from it. So we'll come back after this break on the Matador Fan Zone with Mark Llanas. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Estacado athletics. You're listening to the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. I'm with Estacado baseball coach Mark Llanas, whose team took a gut punch loss to get to Levelland the other night. Quirky but correct.
Quirky but correct.
Call.
Yes,
just the timing of it was weird. The two things we talked about before the break, though, Mark. 4-3 in district. What gets lost in this, you guys have been playing very good baseball after that rough stretch to begin the season. You guys have played really well in district. You're 4-3 in district. You're 2 games behind Liberty, which Liberty's found its groove here a little bit. They're 6-1. Doesn't mean they're impossible to beat. You guys get your shot at them Friday, but you guys are still right in the thick of things. So that's the one spin on this, and the other one is, this is a lesson you get to teach your guys not only about baseball, but a little bit of a life lesson too, about making sure you dot the I's and cross the T's every time you do something.
Yeah, we talked about it too after the game, after I guess the second inning of the game. It was just kind of, the kids were deflated and everything, and I mean, I told them, like, I'm not mad. In our heart of hearts, we feel like we won that game after the 7th inning, and it just goes to show that nothing's guaranteed. And, I think we all agreed. I said, if there's anything we've learned from today, what is it? And they're like, well, we got to touch first. I said, obviously that, but it's just, some lessons come to you in different forms. And that's just one of them. I've never, ever seen that, been a part of that, ever heard of that. And it's just, like I tell our kids, just unfortunate that we were a part of it. I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but I can guarantee you this. You guys, you're going to get older, you'll have kids, your kids will have kids, and you'll tell them about this story, and everybody will, know what to do in that situation.
I would guess that nobody on that team in an Estacado uniform will ever not touch first base again. And if they become coaches someday, that will be high on the list of things they...
and we talked about it today, and all we could do was laugh about it. I mean, we couldn't, we tell our kids, from 3 to 6:30, we put our work hat on, and it's all baseball. And it's just one of those deals where when we take that hat off, that's, we can talk about that. We can have fun with that. We can, kind of, rib each other about that. And, that's all you can do.
Yep.
It's just, there's nothing that we can do. And, we feel we lost that game. But I told our kids in our heart of hearts, we had that one. We played Lakeview. We lost 1-0. We had the runner at third in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning. We couldn't get him in. We feel like we let that one get away. So for the record being 4-3, we feel like we could be 6-1 as well.
Right there with Liberty at the top.
Right there with Liberty, and we played a really good game against Liberty for 4 innings, and that got away from us late. So I tell the kids, it's like just one bad decision doesn't determine our future. We still got 8 games left.
And I wouldn't even call it a decision in that situation. Like you said, the emotions of it.
Yes.
It reminds me of, you see it all the time in football, kids that are about to score a touchdown and they drop it before the goal line because they're wanting to celebrate and get their love. It's played by humans. It's played by young humans who are going to do young human things sometimes.
It is, and like I said, it's just a hard situation. It's one of those deals where if we if you drop a ball or you make a bad throw, hey, it's okay, we'll get over that. It happens to everybody, but this is like, man, I've never seen that happen before. So it'll stick with you, but, we got to be...
You can let it stick with you in a good way.
Yeah, it can. There's nothing wrong with that. We tell the kids there's two ways to learn, the easy way and the hard way. And that was just the hard way for us.
I'll give you another thing you can laugh about when you see David Thetford. You made David Thetford stay out there really late.
Oh, man.
And my guy gets cranky after about the fourth inning if it starts running long.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. If you like to play long baseball games that go into extra innings, you need to come to Estacado baseball games. Because we don't do run rules. We don't do 7-1. We do 6-6 in 8 innings, 9 innings, 10 innings.
And it's funny you say that, because when I saw that game went to extra innings, my first thought was, man, Estacado games always go long.
We just, we find a way. We tell the kids 2.5 hours or 7 innings, and, sometimes it goes 3 hours.
Your parents and fans get their money's worth, and the concession stand stays open the whole time, so there you go.
Well, that's just how we play. We feel like if we can get in those close ball games, we can win them, and for the most part during district, we've been able to do that. So,
and I'll get on my soapbox. All of that aside, these guys are playing better. They're playing good baseball, and that I'm impressed by that, because you guys missed the playoffs last year. We talked when you came on before. Just tear that bandage off. This is a group that, when you started off slow, could have just waved a white flag and said, well, we're just not going to do it again this year. Instead, your guys have gotten off the mat.
We have, a lot of people don't know this, but when we were in that Lubbock tournament, we played Plainview 12-11 that first game. And we were up huge. It was like 9-1 in the third or the fourth. Our catcher got hit by a helmet, and he couldn't finish the game. And that incident pulled everybody out of position.
Domino effect.
And we're not a deep, we have maybe 13, 14. We're not a very deep team. We don't have a lot of kids on the varsity. And, we didn't get to pitch our center fielder. We didn't get to pitch both our shortstop, because now our shortstop had to play shortstop and the backup shortstop had to go to catcher. And we were like, all right, you got an inning, you got an inning, you got an inning. We had to make 5 pitchers last 3 games.
Yep.
And we told the kids, like, it's gonna be bad. The scores are gonna be horrible. But this is not an indication of who we are. And we can play better baseball. It's just that we got to have everybody to do that. And then so once our catcher got back, we went like 3-0, and then we played really well. We played, like you said, really good baseball. So, that middle spot was a little self-inflicted, but it was also a point where we just, we're not very deep in terms of, if we lose a catcher, we're in trouble. We lose a shortstop, we're in trouble, because that pulls from everybody on the team.
Well, blow some more sunshine here. I think that also teaches your guys that, hey, I better come to practice and be ready to learn.
Oh, yes.
I've got to be that third catcher. I've got to be that backup shortstop. That motivates them to understand. I've got to be ready.
We have contingency plans now. We have worked a lot of kids in a lot of spots to make sure if that does happen, that we're kind of not caught, with our pants down going into those situations.
See, those guys are keeping this coach young.
Oh, man.
You've got kids at home that may not keep you that young. That's going to wrap us up on the Matador Fan Zone. We're going to come back on the Westerner Fan Zone after this break on 100.7 The Score.